We are 2 days into training camp with day 3 starting in just a couple of hours. On today's episode, we're going to look at the standouts in training camp so far and some of the comments from Bears players in training camp so far as well. And it's Friday. That means we're diving into the mailbag. All that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host, Derek Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And yeah, man. Hey, things are looking up in training camp so far. We know that the offense has had its struggles through the first 2 days so far, but that doesn't mean that players have not shined. One of the players that definitely stood out in day 2 that we've talked about already has been Monangai, making a couple of big plays when it came down to it. And here's the thing. Monangai is in a position where I don't expect him to pass up Roschon Johnson and DeAndre Swift. I don't expect it. Now, that doesn't mean that it can't happen. And I think the more important thing for Monangai is for him to come into training camp and really show this coaching staff that, hey, I'm ready for a role here. And if you can do that, that's half the battle won, right, when it comes down to that. And I think that's the thing that you need to look at for Monangai. It's not going to necessarily be him coming in and running away with the starting position or anything like that, but I think when you see and hear the fluidity of the moves that he's made, those type of things there and making plays in the open field, that's going to be what Declan Doyle, that's going to be what Ben Johnson noticed as far as getting him opportunities. What's the theme of this offense? Finding a way to get the ball in the hands of your playmakers. And Monangai is showing himself to be a playmaker early on for the Bears team. He's going to have to keep it up. He's gone on a long run down the field. He was elusive in the open field as well, shaking a cornerback. Like, these are the type of things that we know that Monangai can do. And the fact of the matter is, he's just going to have to keep doing that. But there are already eyes on what he can possibly be for this Bears team. Make no mistake about it. And he's going to have to keep performing and playing well. And he's going to get a really big opportunity in preseason. We know that your starters don't typically play a whole lot in preseason. They're not going to play a large portion of the snaps. That gives you more opportunity to really kind of turn some heads, get some people on you, and kind of show what you can be at this level. So Monangai being one of the standouts in day 2, it's done nothing. It shouldn't do nothing but make Chicago Bears fans and everything feel, pretty happy with what's going on right now in training camp. And so, Monangai is going to be a guy that, he has a huge opportunity here. And I don't want to gas it. I don't want to overstate exactly what it could be because, listen, he's still a rookie that was drafted in the 7th round, and he's still got a guy like DeAndre Swift who at baseline is a solid veteran who knows his job and things like that. So, that's always going to be something to look at. But, turning heads early, that's going to be a good thing. Another guy that's really made some standout plays so far in the 2 days of practices have been Nishan Wright. Right. And it seems like he's just not making big plays. He's not just turning heads. This guy's out there competing with the starters, with Jalen Johnson being out. And he's been pretty good with that. When you look at him, he was with the Dallas Cowboys from 2021 through 2023. So he worked with Al Harris, our defensive back coach, before. It's part of the reason why he was brought in here is because he has that experience with it. And, when it came down to it, Kevin Byard talked about this with Nishan Wright, saying he's been balling. He had a lot of turnovers in spring. And so, we'll see what happens with it. So, Nishan Wright, a player that's standing out some for this Bears team, and you want those standouts. I think that's just what it is when it all comes down to it. You want standouts on your team in training camp. And that's what this time period is for. It's for players to kind of stand out, show what they could possibly bring to this coaching staff and to this team, and then letting the coaching staff figure out the balance at that point in time, figure out who's going to fit in where. Now, the thing with Nishan Wright that's going to be a little bit difficult is the fact that he is in one of the deepest position groups that the Chicago Bears actually have on this roster at that cornerback position, and thus it's going to be a little bit harder to crack that rotation in a meaningful way for Nishan Wright with everything that you have there. with Zay Frazier and Trey Flowers being in there and things like that. But hey, I think when you show out with your starters, and that's what you're doing even in training camp, it's going to be hard for any coach to really not take a look at you at that point if you are showing out with the starters. So Nishan Wright's going and doing what he can to show that he may deserve to be on this roster when it's all said and done with it. Will he, though? That's the biggest question that remains here for him, and that's the thing that we don't really have the answer for as it stands right now. And we'll just have to see, what Nishan Wright and these other guys can bring. Keep in mind, because of the way that Dennis Allen does like to use multiple defensive backs out there, there's a chance that we carry a little bit more than what normal NFL rosters usually and typically carry. And if that ends up being the case, like you get a guy like Nishan Wright and other players that can, maybe earn that opportunity to be on this roster, and we shall see what's going to happen out there. Already injuries to Jaylon Johnson, which is a concern there. You hate to have injuries early on, but he's going to be out multiple weeks reportedly. And so with that happening, what does that mean now for your team? Next standout so far as well, though, to keep it in the running back position, apparently DeAndre Swift is having himself a training camp as well after a disappointing 2024 season for not only Swift but the offense overall. It seems like he's off to a really good start so far in training camp, making a one-handed catch down the sideline in individual drills, from Caleb Williams. Got his right hand in there as well. And it seems like things are going pretty good for DeAndre Swift. And, it seems like there's some encouragement from it. This comes from CHGO Bears. It says this: he's not happy with how things went for him last year. I see a very hungry individual. So it seems like, hey, Swift is a guy that's coming in here hungry in training camp, wanting to prove people wrong who looked at the season in the way that it went for him last year. And if you can prove it wrong, great, so be it, right? That's not a bad thing at all. It all comes down to what you can prove, what you can show, and we'll see how that goes. But it seems like those are the players that are really standing out so far for the Chicago Bears and did so in day 2 of training camp. And we just want to see that continue for this team and see what it's going to be like. But another big part of this offseason for the Bears and for the players overall here is Ben Johnson and building that trust and that relationship with Caleb Williams, right? And that seems to be one of the things at the forefront of both Caleb and Ben Johnson in their talks from training camp so far. We talked about the responsibility, the challenge that Ben Johnson laid out for Caleb Williams in the offseason as far as a 70% completion percentage, which Goff did under him last year. And I think only 5 or 6 quarterbacks did the year, prior to that. But it seems like right now, Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, they are focused on building that relationship. Caleb Williams saying this: obviously, we've only been together a couple of months. Over the summer, I will call him and check up on his family, just talk. That's important to be able to build this bond and relationship. When we're here, I pop upstairs whenever I have some free time or whenever he texts me, pop up there for an hour or so, 30 minutes. A lot of times we're not talking about anything football related, which is also important to building a relationship. It's a really important relationship. It's been growing. It's been awesome. We're having fun. He gets on me and it's greatly appreciated that he does. Being tough on me and understanding that nobody's above anybody. All of us are one, and that's how we are going to march this season. So that's really great to hear. Now, the responsibility has to come by Caleb Williams showing that on the football field. The trust and relationship that Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson has is going to be the backbone of not only this offense, but in a lot of ways, the team overall. So you want that relationship to continue building. It's good to hear that is getting to the place that it needs to get to, but there's still a lot of work that's needed to be done. The work isn't done yet, right? And so, throughout training camp, hearing that the offense has had its struggles, hearing that Caleb has had his struggles as well. I'm not going to panic like some Bears fans. I've already seen the think pieces from some Bears fans. And, oh my God, I told y'all Williams is this. Like, y'all got to chill with that, man. I think overall, like, Caleb Williams is going to grow. He's going to continue to develop under this team, and I don't think that that's a bad thing, right? Having those rough practices, it's called growing pains for a reason. It's going to happen. And I think that that's the overall thing when it gets down to, there's some roughness and some unpolishedness around Caleb Williams and that offense right now. But things like, the pre-snap things, that's not just Caleb. It seems like the offense as a whole is out of sync as it stands right now, right? And so you got to get those things together. But the way that Ben Johnson has coached this thing up, it seems like it's going to, they're going to get it right, and they're going to get their timing down. They still have people fluctuating in and out of that offensive line as well, and that's not a bad thing when it comes down to it. But to hear, players like Ian Willer and Kyle Monangai, even hearing that DeAndre Swift is having himself a really good training camp so far. Like maybe that running back room was going to be a little bit better than what we were expecting. We've heard that Noah Sewell's had some really good practices, and him and Ruben Hippolyte as well have been standouts in different ways. You know, one of the things I am concerned about is the depth in that linebacker room, but it seems like those things are getting there. But the injuries, we got to find a way to avoid the injuries. That's one thing that's really standing out to me so far is like K has had an injury scare. We already know that Jaylon Johnson's down, Luther Burden's down, right? Trey Flowers, as well has gotten dinged up a little bit. So there are those things that are going around that you just don't want to turn into big type things for you yet. But hearing some things that have gone so well so far, it's really good. That's what you want out of training camp, and we're just going to continue to see how it grows, how it develops. But you guys, as always, can let me know how you feel on that down below. But with that said, that means it is Friday. It is mailbag day. We're going to get into these voicemails today. This first one we have, this one's from Ty.
Yo, Chicago Bears Central. This is T.Y. from the South Side. First off, I just wanted to say, man, just got done watching the episode Hayes talking about Jalen Johnson. Wanted to discuss about the new contract, man. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? We all understand about this contract stuff, man. Everybody got to go get paid. You know what I'm saying? These people, they do a really, even though, you know what I'm saying, they make extremely amount. I mean, they make way more, basically. They make way more than the average Joe. But, you know what I'm saying, the type of activity they doing every day, you know what I'm saying, they putting their bodies to the test, you know what I'm saying, going against a grown man that's trying to, you know what I'm saying, move them against their will. So, you know what I'm saying, we all just got to understand, you know what I'm saying, it's the nature of things. And like Hayes said, you know, everybody got to get their money, man. People ain't just finna sit around, and especially if they know the business, they not just finna sit around not try to get paid. But, you know what I'm saying, with that, I also, you know what I'm saying, want to say, man, this year, I hope, I got huge hope for this year. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to sip the Kool-Aid, but as always, any year when, you know what I'm saying, we enter into the Bears season, man, I always got hope for these guys because, you know what I'm saying, I've been a Bears fan ever since I was little, man. My dad, you know what I'm saying, you know, raised me on the Bears. So, you know what I'm saying, I just wanted to, you know what I'm saying, you know, say, man, we most definitely finna go crazy this year. Hopefully, you know what I'm saying, I got high hopes for Ben Johnson, you know what I'm saying. Hopefully, you know what I'm saying, he make those right calls, like calling timeout when it needs to be called, you know what I'm saying. But you know what I'm saying, overall, man, I just have high hopes that this team is gonna really do well this year, you know what I'm saying. But that's all I got for today, you guys. Try to call back up more. You know what I'm saying? I watch you guys a lot, so you know what I'm saying, you guys keep doing what y'all doing. Chicago up, bear down. You already know what it is, gang.
Jaylon Johnson, here's the thing with Jaylon, right? I'm not too worried about it. I know that people have made a lot about the Jaylon Johnson, and I think people, again, they react to headlines and don't really read the story. Jaylon Johnson was never a threat to hold out. He's never even talked about anything that alluded to seeming like holding out. He just said, hey, if I continue playing the way that I'm playing, we're going to have to sit down and renegotiate the contract. And there's nothing wrong with that. People who have now reacted to that and it's like, oh my God, Jaylon's being selfish and just play the contract out and all that type. It's like, just be quiet. Like some people, sometimes as fans, like we react to things without really getting the full information or taking in the context. I'm sorry, but for somebody who already signed a deal that was extremely friendly when you look at the market and the market continues to reset, there's not a problem when you're 2-3 years into that contract to say, hey, let's renegotiate this. Like there should be no problem with that. And Bears fans that took that snippet or that headline and reacted to that to try to make it seem like a holdout or being selfish or all that type of stuff, it's like y'all just don't read. And that's one thing that I do learn in this job, in doing this and being on this side of things, is that some people just don't read. They just really don't. They see a headline and they don't even comprehend the headline sometimes, which is even worse than that. They just react to things and just keep it pushing. But, you know, it is what it is. The Jaylon Johnson thing, I'm not worried about it because I think if he goes out there and performs, he has the right to want to renegotiate that contract, period. And I don't think Ryan Poles or anybody's going to take that as a negative. you already got him on a team on an extremely friendly deal. And it becomes more friendly and more of a steal every year that goes by. If you're talking about, but you already played 1 year into that contract, he's going to play this year out. You're talking about 3 years into that contract, and you're like, hey, let's sit down, let's renegotiate this per the current market, and let's sit down and hammer this thing on out. Like, let's not forget that the Bears, in the situation of getting him that contract, basically said, go out there and earn your next contract. And he did, and still got a team-friendly contract. So, yeah, I'm not too worried about it. I think it's one of those things that Bears fans kind of focus on and zero in on that and don't really comprehend in some areas. But that's just my thought process. But let's move on to the next one, man. This next one's from Xavier.
What's going on, guys? This is Xavier calling in, man. Hayes posed the question what people they think should have the biggest training camp. So I'm looking at the rookies, bro. I'm looking at all the rookies, bro. We need a big training camp from all of the rookies. And the reason why is because if we hit on all these rookies, bro, like, they might phase out some of our veterans, bro. And, you know, like with some of the guys on bigger contracts, it'd be great to have the rookies prove that they could possibly take a step and fill in these roles in case we want to, you know, get rid of some of these guys down the line, maybe trade, or if it's a cap casualty, then so be it. You know, like, I'm looking at Luther Burden, man, number one, bro, Coastal Loveland as well. Obviously, we have the veterans in front of them. We have the DJ Moores. We have the Cole Command. If these guys can prove that they're solid and legit and ready to go from day one, bro, it can have an impact. Those guys might be able to, you know, be expendable. Ruben Hippolyte, if he proves that he's solid, we've already been talking about Tremaine Edmonds getting up out of here, so that'll be great. Ozzie Trapillo, man, Ozzie, I'm high on Ozzie. I think he's gonna be great. I don't see Braxton Jones beating him out. No way possible, because like Braxton Jones showed me nothing personally. I'm just not a fan of him. But you know, like I think Ozzie's gonna be like really important, and plus, like we gotta keep Caleb upright, and therefore, if he's upright and has time to throw the ball, then it won't be no. So we'll be able to evaluate him even better and more fairly. It's just Cal Monangai as well. If he comes in and shows out, bro, and even Ian Willer, bro, like, I know he's not a rookie, but Ian Willer, bro, like those two, if they can show any signs of life, bro, DeAndre Swift probably not a Bear next year. So, you know, I'm looking at it from that standpoint, bro. If we hit on these rookie picks, bro, and they're solid and they show that they can do what we need to be done, and these are Ben Johnson type guys, you know, coaches always get rid of guys when they're not their guy per se. When they didn't draft these guys and they're not attached to them. So he's not attached to any of these guys except the rookies, because this is his first draft class. So if these guys hit and show that they're valuable, then we're in good shape, man. But that's how I feel about it, man. Chicago up there.
Rookies phasing out veterans. Here's my thought process in all this. I think we are too early in and haven't accomplished shit to where we need to start talking about people phasing out people. Now, I mean, in the sense of like Ozzie Trapillo and Braxton, which is him just taking the starting role. In the case of maybe Tremaine Edmonds and you know, maybe a Power Echols or something like that, okay, like you can have that conversation. But you know, when people start talking about like, oh, Luther Burden, he can be why he can phase out DJ Moore. Can we get into a spot where we actually keep our talent and use the depth of talent that we have there? I think, like, let's start winning first. And then let's start worrying about making players with talent expendable or not. Like, we ain't won shit. We ain't accomplished shit. So why are we talking about phasing people out? Yes, there are several rookies on this team that are going to contribute immediately. Make no mistake about that. There are even some rookies on this team that are going to be competing for starting spots right away. We're seeing that. But outside of that, let's let this thing grow and develop before we start worrying about who's phasing who out. And this isn't at you, Xavier. I'm just talking about generally. Who's phasing who out and worrying about that aspect of things before we accomplish a damn thing. We ain't accomplished shit to be talking about let's phase out talent yet. That's just my personal opinion on it. You guys can let me know how you feel down below. All right, let's get into the next one, man. This one's from Darius.
What's going on, guys? Darius from Dallas, man. I was just listening to the most recent episode and listening to Hayes talk about a couple players that he feels like, need to make the most improvement in camp. And, I want to go ahead and just give my thoughts on a couple players. I'm pretty sure Hayes already knows who they are. And yes, you got it right. It is Gervon, Dexter, and Tyreek Stevenson. Don't hate either of those guys, despite what Hayes has told the nation. But I think that Gervon, what I want to see out of him specifically, I want to see, did his hands get better? Because guys his size tend to just rely on extending their arms out and driving. And like 50% of the time, I think like Gervon Dexter is big enough where that will actually work. But you got to have counter moves, bro. That's why you started off hot for 5 games, and these teams watch film on you, and they say, oh, he got us a goddamn bull rush? All right, we got him. And then they neutralized you. That can't happen. You got to get those hands quicker. That's what I loved about Akeem Hicks so much, man. For his size, his hands were so fucking quick. And that's what I want to see out of Gervon. I feel like that's going to be the thing that he needs to do to take him to the next level so he can actually be consistent. You got to get those hands involved, man. You can't just be a big ass bear and just push people into the quarterback. That's not going to work on every center or every guard in the league, man. So they got to get a little bit of a counter rush going. And I think, hey, we could potentially see a season out of him where he gets, 8-9 sacks, if he can develop that. As far as Tyreek Stevenson, I just want to see him up on the line, bro. I want to see you pressing these guys. If your biggest weakness is going to be coverage downfield, then I want you to get up in these guys' face and throw their timing off before they even get past, 5-10 yards. I think that's going to be what he has to do, until he can develop his ability to cover downfield. But I know Jalen's going to be locking his side up. I know Kyler Gordon's going to do his thing. I know Brisker's going to stop people from coming over the middle. So Tariq, I don't want people to look at him like a weakness and just be targeting him and throwing everything downfield. I don't want him to be a weak link. Can you just hold your own over there and get up in these guys' ass, from within the first 5 yards and throw that timing off? Everything else, I have no complaint about with Tyreek Stevenson's game. I think within the first 15 yards, he's one of the best cornerbacks in the league. When you get past 15 yards, I think he's a big liability. So that's all I want to see out of Tyreek, man, is are you blowing assignments? Are you using your head a little bit more? And are you being physical at the line? But other than that, man, y'all just let me know what you think. Text us up, bear down.
Darius, I agree with basically everything you said. Now, 8 or 9 sacks is kind of difficult for a defensive tackle, and that's where we do differ at. But as far as Gervon Dexter and his hands getting better, being better in the run game, those are things that he definitely needs to improve on. And I never said that you hated him, but I do think you have some blind, like you straight up said, Shamar Turner can start instead of Gervon. If you don't understand the difference between, Gervon's going to lose his starting position too, hey, these are the things that I want to see. He's solid in some areas, and I want to see him improve in these areas. If you don't understand the difference in that messaging, Darius, I don't know what to tell you, little bro. I don't know what to tell you. But, Gervon Dexter has the things that he definitely needs to improve on. I think the technique things are things that come in time. Keep in mind, this is only his second year as a full-time starter. It is that. So it's going to be that bit of a learning curve. He's not going to be a fully polished product yet. Same thing with Tyreek Stevenson, right? He's going now into his 3rd year, though, as a starter. But he was so solid in some areas like what you said, putting pressure at the line, doing those type of things. That's when you start seeing the things that separate good and even very good corners and players to the greats, right? When they can continue refining their game year after year. Neither one of these guys are in a place yet to where they can rest on their laurels over what they've done because they ain't accomplished shit. So, you gotta be there. You gotta continually evolve. And if Gervon Dexter and Tyreek Stevenson can continue growing their game out, especially under this coaching staff, I think the sky's the limit for both of them, and we'll see where that's gonna go. All right, let's get into this next voicemail, man. This one's from 7.
Peace and blessings. What's good? It's your boy 7 Inglewood Zone right now in your zone once again. I was just wondering what your thoughts are on this, what they're talking about. And I know everything's early, in the training camp, but with everything that's coming out with regard to, how the offense is performing and all that, and I was just wondering if you guys are concerned at all about, what Caleb's progression or, what his progression is at this point, in a good offense versus, or what is probably a good offense. I'm not going to call it that off top, but I'm hoping it is a good offense. But what is purported to be a good offense versus how far ahead he was last year, in a bad offense. Or I'll say not so good offense. So because to me, it seems like the people are saying that they have concern. Like I'm hearing people talking about they have concerns already about Caleb. And I'm like, well, yeah, you should be. I don't think you should be concerned yet because, especially in comparison to last year, considering how poor of an offense it was. Like, do you want him to be good in a bad offense, or do you want him to, struggle to get good in a good offense? Personally, I'm with the latter, but I just wondering what you guys' thoughts are on that. But as always, Chicago up, bear down, man. Peace. Love everything y'all do.
I'm not concerned as much about progression, mainly due to the new expectations, right? I think you have a new coaching staff, you have a new playbook, you have a new offensive line, and from what we've heard so far, the interception on the opening play was okay. It is what it is. We haven't really heard that in day two, but I think the more timing things that we're hearing about Ben Johnson and stopping the offense and things like that, those come with growing pains of learning a new system. Those come with growing pains of learning new players. Those come with growing pains of just this thing has completely changed. This is not the same team with the same expectations at all. Ben Johnson is coming in. One of the reasons we have a new coaching staff because the last coaching staff didn't lay out expectations correctly. Cole Kmet talked a little bit about this, right? As far as Ben Johnson pulling the offense, he said, I think that's on par for how Ben is. So I can't repeat what he said because I was actually a little exhausted. So all I heard was a little bit of yelling, and I knew that obviously things weren't going well there for the last few plays. If you're not doing it right, he's going to get you out, and he's not going to see that stuff continue. And that's what you want to happen. So, we're going through what we need to go through right now to be a better team. And to that, I'm not too overly concerned about it. Now, if it gets to the point of that being in the regular season, that's when the concern is going to kick into high over gear then. So, we'll see what happens there. All right, let's get into the last voicemail that we have for today, man. This one's from Farrell.
What's going on, fellas? This Farrell out of Chicago, by way of Chicago, but I'm in Cali right now. We've been here. But anyway, the experience that I've had recently is I had with Dennis Allen. He snapped me out of it. I'm a born and raised a Bear fan, 47 years, right? But the thing he made me snap out of it is I've always watched in the tradition of our in existence is defense. He snapped me out of it yesterday, because I'm a fan of Caleb. Caleb, the offense, I want them to do well, score well, do better, be better, everything, all of that. I want to yell out on Sundays, Monangai, all that. I want to be beastie on offense, but I've always been a fan of defense. Tillman, Erlacher, the name can go on and on, but he snapped me out of it. In the old school way, you got to be initiated now to be in this defense. And he said it's a privilege to be a part of this defense, and that's the tradition. We've praised defensive coordinators over the years. Okay, offense, what y'all gonna do? Let's get the defense off the field. So, let's get the defense. Let's get the offense off the field so the defense won't be tired. Because they be on the field most of the time. So he made me snap out of it. I'm praying the offense do good. So be it. But Dennis Allen snapped me out damn, I am a Bear fan. I'm defense first. By law, damn near, by birthright. But I want to know how you guys feel. I'm rooting for this offense, but man, the defense, my goodness. I got myself caught up going for quarterback stats and everything, but defense is what we make we made our bed. So I've been sipping the Kool-Aid, but on the offense, but I've always been defense. So let me know how y'all feel about the defense too, because man, Dennis Allen is talking a good game. God bless you guys. Chi-town up and bear down.
I think Dennis Allen is going to have this defense playing with the intensity and have an actual defensive identity. And that's not to knock the offense at all, right? I think this offense can actually be really good too. But I think the intensity, that's one thing that Dennis Allen is going to have here. And that's going to be through stylistically, as far as how much more we're going to blitz, how much more structure we're going to blitz, but also how creative he is defensively. Yeah, we've been missing a defensive identity. We've had some talent on the defensive side of the ball, but that identity, that's what's been missing. And it seems like Dennis Allen and his coaching staff are ready and prepared to bring that identity to the Chicago Bears. And let's see where that shakes out. This is going to be a tough team. This is going to be a tough defense. This is going to be a defense with expectations. And when you get into that place of getting there, that's when things really can take off for you. So I think I agree with you. Dennis Allen does, get me excited about what this defense can be. I'm just not getting too overly excited about it until I see it on the football field. And we're not going to see the full bit of it until the regular season. But things are really starting to look good in a place where this defense is going to be intense, it's going to be ready, it's going to be locked in, and it's going to do some things that we haven't done defensively in quite a while. But that's my time for today, guys. You guys can let me know how you feel on all of that down below. Make sure you guys are following us at Shy Bear Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and or voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.